is Treb Heining is number 1, and followed by Nancy Teep, followed by Laura Caldwell.
Honorable Mayor, distinguished members of the Malibu City Council, thank you for letting me speak tonight. My name is Treb Heining. I live in Newport Beach, California. Same house for 26 years, live on the upper bay of Newport. I'm an avid cyclist. I go 10.2 miles around my bay every day. And I'm an also avid birder, card-carrying member of the National Audubon Society. Oh, and I'm also a balloon man. I started my career at Disneyland, 15 years old, selling Mickey Mouse balloons back in 1969. As I went through college, I had an idea about putting 4 balloons on a paperclip and creating a balloon column. I'm the guy that invented balloon columns, balloon arches, and a number of other things for the balloon industry. In fact, if you give me a driver, I could hit a ball to the house in the Malibu colony where the first balloon arch was ever done in the whole world. It was done right here in Malibu, California. I specialize in decor, but I was involved in a wide range of other events, Olympics, Super Bowls, world records, political conventions. If you watch any political convention from 1988 on, you've seen my work at the end of the convention. Environmental issues came up in our industry in the late 80s, and we as an industry dealt with them, and we studied them to come to a positive solution. What we found, though, were many of the claims were overstated, and many were absolutely false about what they were saying about our products and what they do. I'm no longer active in the special events business, but I'm still very active in the balloon industry. What has happened recently are people letting balloons go with ribbons and strings attached, which is something we don't condone or support. Balloon releases haven't been done in our industry for many years. With that, I also have to say that the California law forbids that. There's a California law that states that every balloon that is sold on a ribbon or a string has to be weighted. And that is something that we support very adamantly for the 30,000 balloon artists that work all over the world. I spent a lifetime watching the amazing magical effect that balloons have on people. I believe that the human element is important. I could fill this room with the thousands of people who worked with me on events all over the country that have said to me that was the greatest thing they ever did. I believe in education and teaching people rather than banning. I think banning is not the right solution. I believe that a balloon on a string is magic. I believe in the power of balloons. I thank you for listening to me tonight, and please do not ban balloons.
Thanks.
Hi, my name is Nancy Teep. Thanks for letting me speak. I'm a balloon decorator in Santa Monica, California, and we do a lot of balloons in the city of Malibu. The standard in the industry is the California balloon law, which means every balloon that goes out of a store must be weighted. The balloon professionals follow that. It's the other people that don't, and that's where the education comes in.
So I'm an entertainer, children's entertainer. I use balloons in my entertaining. I am known as Annie Banani, balloon storyteller. And I've even performed at the Malibu Library a couple of times. I want to read a statement from the Pro-Environment Balloon Alliance, which is called PEBA. And I'm going to shorten it from what they gave me, because I like you. All right, so we have the same goal of protecting our environment. We know that it's really important. So we are an international balloon industry association formed in 2017 to promote positive changes in balloon industry practices, educate the public, and to be a consultative body for legislative policy relating to balloons. We feel that education works better than legislation. PEBA members are business professionals who do not support, condone, or facilitate the organized release of balloons. We actively educate our peers and audiences in proper use and disposal of balloons to prevent littering. We also encourage creative solutions to further reduce the environmental footprint of our work, which is very small compared to any other way that you could decorate a room, and still maintain its dynamic visual impact. We know our education efforts are working. We have commitments now from every major balloon manufacturer stating that they discourage the release of helium-filled balloons. They're even updating their packaging. And in only our first year of existence, we're already seeing this major industry-wide shift. what we find over and over is as soon as people understand what the issues are, that is what changes it. It's not legislation.
I'm Cindy Jameson, former Malibu resident. I own Balloon Celebrations, a party company in Santa Monica since 1981. We have 20 full-time employees. We're in Malibu all the time because we're your next-door neighbors. The majority of our work are air-filled sculptures. We do large-scale and smaller names and bears and almost anything you can imagine. They're air-filled, they're on bases. After the party, we come back, we pick the bases up, and we recycle them. And the favorite thing about my company is we donate 3% of our profits to charity. So I agree that one of the most important things that all of us can do is protect our planet. But another thing, the most important thing that we can do after that is make sure that we're putting our efforts towards the things that are most important. Plastic bags and bottles create a lot more pollution than balloons. Balloons are sap, so balloons actually biodegrade. If you look at what's causing the most of the pollution in the oceans, about 85% of it are toys, plastic bags, bottles. All these things need to be worked on. So I suggest kind of a win-win compromise. We can no more balloon releases.
Here's Suzanne.
Suzanne Herring, thank you.
Okay, Suzanne.
Not like the fish. Okay, my name is Suzanne Herring. I'm a local balloon artist and entertainer. I too live in a beach city, and I too, the environment is so important to me. I walk the beach, I do see balloons there, but they're balloons that are helium balloons that are released. Helium balloons are just a small part of what the balloon world is all about. Also a member of PEBA, the Pro-Environment Balloon Alliance. And we're all here today to support your commitment to protect the beauty of Malibu's stunning coastline. But though well-intentioned, Ordinance 439 is only a statement on the change that you wish to make. Statements don't change behaviors, but you know what does? It's education. It's what you have been talking about all evening. Now, I've been making my living for over 30 years as an event entertainer. I entertain at Disney movie premieres on stilts in balloon costumes. I was even at the White House a few years ago as a balloon flamingo on stilts. I bring joy to the world. That is what I do. The balloons I use, I compost. The balloons I use are made of from forests, rainforest. In my shows, I do comedy magic balloon shows, and I do a recycling bit, and I teach kids about making sure that they take the trash and dispose of it the way you dispose of any other trash. So we're all about responsible balloon behaviors, and we want to help you help the world to learn about it, because we believe that the city of Malibu could be the city that sets the standards for communities across the country by educating the public on why they should not release balloons. As members of PEBA, we would love to work with you to change public behavior together. Let us end balloon releases through education, not legislation.
Susan, really, I have to follow that. Okay, I'm going to have a slightly different approach. I am also a member of PEBA and a professional balloon artist, entertainer, comedian, and this is the quietest item of clothing I own. My concern is that this is going to be something that you are only concerned with Malibu. What it's going to end up doing is forcing mothers, fathers, whoever is going to have that birthday party for their kid to drive these so easy to drive roads out of Malibu to go get their balloons. And you've all seen it on a Saturday morning. That mom who's got those balloons crammed in her car, she can't see out the back windows. She can't see out the side windows. She's a hazard to others and herself. Please reconsider.
Everyone, my name is Stephen Mayhew, and I've been in the balloon industry for over 20 years. I am currently the marketing director and a balloon decorating instructor at one of LA's largest balloon distributors located in Glendale, which is LA Balloons. And I'm here on behalf of not only us, but also all of the balloon manufacturers who employ thousands of individuals across the nation. But in addition, all of these balloon decorators, we have another distributor here as well, to urge you to, and strongly urge you to reconsider your position on this ban. Not only would this be a financial hardship and reduce your sales tax from the many grocery stores that actually sell the balloons here, in addition, the thousands of companies and balloon decorators and retail shops and card shops and florists around the Los Angeles County would also be impacted by as well, as you saw from the people who had come up here and spoke earlier. Many people, though they might not reside here in Malibu, they actually do a lot of service here for a lot of the constituents. So the Balloon Council, which is an organization that was assembled by the balloon industry, they've implemented best practices and work with us on legislation. And they specifically came out and stated that their stance is to not release balloons. And just like the California balloon law, the rest of the balloon industry rallied behind this as well. So we do not promote the release of balloons. And they've actually implemented a marketing campaign, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to come today, is because as a distributor, we have a little bit more resources to be able to put forward. And so I offer the support from LA Balloons to work with all of you to actually implement a marketing program and to be able to provide you with posters, literature, information for consumers, cards that could actually be supplied to the balloon decorators and the balloon artists who are supplying the actual bouquets. And in addition, also online documentation for people to be able to go online to be able to download this information as well. So I ask you to reconsider, because you have an individual and a company, and I'm sure there's probably other companies standing behind me that will also assist with being able to help get the word out, because the solution to this problem and this issue is not banning balloons. The solution is, as everyone else mentioned, is education. So we are here to work with you and to do what we can to be able to educate the public. Thank you for your time.
It's Catherine Olson. I'm a balloon entertainer and decorator, and as you've heard from my colleagues, latex comes from rubber trees. It's a sap. It's extracted by removing the bark on the tree. The tree remains intact. So there are rainforests full of oxygen-producing trees. The trees aren't harmed. It provides jobs for many of these countries that need the work, and latex balloons decompose at the same rate as an oak leaf. With latex being earth-friendly, obviously it needs to be disposed of properly. Part of my service, I go back and I strike the jobs. I do arches and columns where I use stands and base plates, and I have to retrieve those. I pop all of my balloons so I can decorate an entire venue, and at the end, when I pop my balloons, my pile is this big. And the pile of trash from that same event of plastic cups or whatever they use is tremendous. So the impact that the balloons bring is amazing, and latex is earth-friendly. It will hurt our livelihood, and I think that's about all I have to say.
Thank you, Catherine.
My name is Sean Salikian. I'm from Joker Party Supply. We're a balloon distributor in LA County. The business we're in is the happiness business. Balloons equals happiness. Please don't kill happiness. Vote no on Ordinance 439. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our public speakers. And I know that Laura, a known balloon sympathizer, is chomping at the bit to speak. So you got the first crack at it.
First, I want to thank everybody for coming. I did not organize this, whatever anyone might think. I was contacted, and I did encourage anyone that contacted me to write to the entire council. Well, first of all, I want to just say a couple of things. PIBA is a very smart name, and get some free publicity out of that. And I completely agree that education is the key. And I really think that Malibu could actually be a leader in this area by showing that we can do better education. We've gotten the offer of somebody helping us, or at least providing some resources for that. And I don't know how many people up here, of course, Riva, I would take out of this, have ever planned a party. And I just think that making anybody have to drive over the hill or into Santa Monica, we're adding greenhouse gas emissions. I know I talked about this last time, and the danger of having a balloon-filled car driving even longer on PCH. I know that those aren't the big salient points, but they're points. And I think it's an overreach even water balloons would not be allowed. Water balloons are not ever filled with helium. That's the whole purpose. They're filled with water. Should try education first. And I know education, I was PTA president at Point Du Marine Science School, and we did a lot of education around helium-filled balloons and making sure that they weren't released into the air. So I think that that's what our city is known for being an environmentally conscious and progressive city. So let's show that we can educate our visitors and our residents first. And I think also somebody mentioned that when they do beach cleanups, and I don't know the statistics on this at all. I know that plastic straws were the 5th most common and plastic utensils were the 6th, cigarette butts being the 1st, but that balloons were not in the top 20 or 30 or whatever it is.
If you recall, the last time that we discussed this, I abstained from this. It was one of the, I think, 2 abstentions in almost 9 years, because I thought this was kind of like over the top. If you guys were interested or willing to limit it to just the Mylar balloons, I could support that, but not all the rest of them.
So, for all of those that spoke, are any of you people that live in the city or just people that work in the city? I know one woman said that she lived here before but no longer lives in the city, correct? By a show of hands or something? And so you guys came here because you work in the balloon industry, all of you, and we got a nice letter from the California Retailers Association, the California Teamsters Public Affairs Council, and the ever so lovely California Grocers Association, one of my favorites, who also support plastic bags as well. So I have a major reluctance to allow balloons widespread. I think I hear what Laura's saying about the Mylar or balloons. I know somebody, I don't know if it's one of you, corrected us in an email that Mylar is a product of DuPont and that there's maybe it's just a plastic-based balloon. But latex balloons that are commonly used have dyes in them. They also use plasticizers. They do not biodegrade, and that's how your industry continues to befuddle the environmental world, and all of this information is online. It's completely... So the environmentalists are...
There we have
I'll ask you to come to the mic. And if we're talking about natural latex balloons, I would understand what you're saying. However, I find it very hard to believe that people that smuggle cocaine into this country would do so in a product that's biodegradable in their stomach where they could die. So they use your balloons to do it. And it is unconscionable that you come here and testify that these are products that are completely biodegradable. It is not true, and the information that is out there that is readily available says that. So if you guys want to sell and distribute products that are made of a natural latex that actually biodegrade, I don't think that that's something that I, in doing my further research, have issue with. What I have issue with are the non-biodegradable ribbons that are attached to all of these balloons that are attached to weights that end up in all of our marine life. Not only obviously in Malibu. Malibu is a very small place and relative to the world. So what I would consider is coming up and modifying the ordinance to specifically carve out natural latex balloons and having those attached with some kind of biodegradable product. But we will set an example in that by saying, okay, if the industry really wants to have a natural biodegradable product, we'll embrace that. That's where I'm at with it, because in looking online and seeing the other information out there on Google, not that you can read everything online that's fair, or that is right, and say, is a latex balloon biodegradable? The answer is no. Used with many different types of dyes and artificial plasticizers that allow them so that they don't decompose. They actually put them in them so that they have a longer shelf life.
Okay. Excuse me. Excuse me.
You sit here, and I can read directly from it, which I will. I can read from the Department of Fish and Wildlife that encourages people not to release balloons. The U.S. Department of Wildlife actively campaigns, so does obviously the state of California, to not have balloons released. And I don't think that you guys are people that are constantly releasing balloons, but I think that if you used a product that was natural, that actually was biodegradable, and I don't even know if that exists, but that if you say that it exists, that's what some of the websites say, that if that's what you were using, then we wouldn't be having this problem. So I think that that's fair. I think that that's a compromise in this, but that's the only way that I could see having any kind of compromise.
I have balloons galore on my house. I just can't buy any in the city of Malibu.
Correct.
You're not taking away my balloons at my house.
Thank you, Rick. I did a little research on my own as well, and I found that quite often it's not the industry itself. It's the people that are providing the industry with the balloons. They're made overseas. Quite often, the immigrations customs ask what the derivatives are in the balloons, and they'll say additive A, additive B, additive C in 2 to 4 to 6% amounts for elasticity in the balloons and durability in the balloons once they're be incumbent for you as vendors of these products in your group awareness to make sure that your balloons meet the standards of latex, and that way people like us can say those are biodegradable, they do come apart, and they will deteriorate like an oak leaf, more durable as time goes on. And since you haven't addressed the complexity of the plastics themselves, it's hard for us to not allow this to move forward, because oftentimes we need you to do the homework, and nobody's presented us the homework with the chemical breakdown of the most common balloons. That would have been a start. Hey, work with me, let's figure this out. Tell me that you're making these in the U.S. and that I know what the chemical breakdown of what these balloons are, so when they are released, not by your folks, but by other individuals, that they're not polluting.
I'm very sympathetic to the entrepreneurs out there who come and tell us about their livelihood. I have a lot of respect for artists and people who run their own business and come up with creative ways to bring happiness to everybody. And how can you argue with people who are in the happiness game? Laura said, hey, are you really going to make people drive over the hill to do this thing? It's only 12 miles. Okay. The mission statement of the city is to preserve the rural character and the environment, and that's the central theme of all the decisions that we make here. So I think part of the problem is that, when I was a kid growing up in the 60s, there were all sorts of public service advertisements on TV about littering. Don't litter, don't litter, don't litter. Because littering was a problem in the early 60s, and they had a massive, massive public education campaign, and they pretty much eradicated littering. They don't do that anymore. And since that time of those littering PSAs stopped, I think the population of California, for example, is you have 15 million people who come in primarily to hang out at the beach. They don't always bring balloons with them, of course, but we have to be responsible stewards of what happens on the beach. And I look to somebody who is my guiding directive, and that's my wife. And my wife has been here since the early 60s, and she goes to the beach almost every day. And she goes running on the beach, and she's grown up on the beach, and she says, get rid of those freaking balloons, because they're all over the beach. Every time I walk, there's balloons with strings and stuff on them. So that carries a lot of weight for me. I think we probably need to have a little more discussion about this, because I'm not really sure what your modification was, Skylar, but it's news to me that that balloons are biodegradable. I'm like, that's surprising, and I can't imagine that a balloon biodegrades as quickly as an oak leaf. And the other thing is, get a little kind of concerned when there's such an organized lobbying effort of people from out of town that obviously have a financial stake in what their careers. I get that. Okay, I respect that. I do respect that. I respect you all to be ardent advocates for your profession, your personal profession, as well as your industry.
Thank you, Rick. I didn't realize that balloons were a rural or urban or suburban issue. I mean, the only thing that's really, truly, if you want to talk about rural, then all our kids would just be playing with sticks and dirt and stones. And I just think, I'm sorry, I just think that's ridiculous. Balloons are banned at the beach. I'm down at the beach 4 or 5 times a week too, and I rarely see a balloon. Maybe it's the private beaches that are the problem in Malibu. I just think we have so many more important issues, and balloons are not the scourge that I think that they're being made out. And for me, it's more important to get people off the roads and to have a safe drive. Rural about balloons. In fact, if anything, if you go to middle America and rural communities, that's what people are doing. And they're having water balloon fights and they're having birthday parties with them. And we need to teach people to be responsible, like you were saying about littering, and not just to ban it something.
Okay, I'm kind of, I forget your name. Cindy, would you come to the mic? And then I have a question for the gentleman who I forget his name because I don't have the speaker slipped in front of me, but we'll get there in a second.
I think one of the reasons that all the balloon people are kind of dancing in their seats is go to any one of their stores and watch balloons in various stages of decomposing. If you came to my store any day, I could show you balloons that are getting sticky and biodegrading. If I delivered a balloon bouquet to any of you, most likely at this point, Laura, after a month or two, if you wanted to hang on to it that long, you would watch it, it would come down, no joke at all, and it would start to get it would change colors and it would get sticky and weird. Some people hold on to it for months because they just love the thought of it. And it basically goes to nothing. It breaks down and goes to nothing, and I'm not kidding.
I totally hear what you're saying. You can't put plasticizers in an item and have it be biodegradable.
You have not convinced me there's plasticizers in there. It's 100% satin
Your
color.
manufacturers say on their own websites that they use plasticizers. So
What website, Skylar? I mean, I feel like you're quoting some that, you know. There's people, just because people are putting websites out there doesn't mean that it's actual facts. There's a lot of people that for some reason have something against balloons, unhappy childhoods perhaps, but that doesn't mean that it's true.
My retail store done by young people on the computer, and there are a number of things that are additives to the balloons that come from overseas.
Right.
Saying what was revealed to me chemically. I didn't care where it was being used or where it wound up or what color it was. The young people indicated, oh, you know what, there's this chemical by percentage. So the balloon may deteriorate, but it has additives to it that do not deteriorate.
Right, I'm on a website that's called balloonsblow.org.
Right. I knew that was where you were getting your information.
So what sorry, what was your name again, gentlemen? Treb? Trem, will you come up to the mic real quick? Thank you.
Okay.
I mean, I consider actually all of you guys sort of like artists as well. I think that what you do is very creative in that space. And I know that you are a pioneer of this, Treb. But what is it that you could not do with an actual biodegradable balloon?
No, the balloons are actually biodegradable, Skylar. The largest manufacturer of latex balloons in the world is right here in the United States of America. It's called Pioneer Balloon Company. They're based in Wichita, Kansas. They have plants in El Dorado, Texas, and also in Canada and in Mexico. And all their balloons are made of 98% pure latex. Do you know how they get the color? They pumice clay. Clay is pumised. That's how they get the color. I've seen it. I've been to their plants. This is my life's work. You cannot stop their latex balloons from biodegrading. It's a fact. When you see things on the website that you cited, is the very thing that I said in my notes. I was trying to be polite, that there are many things that are exaggerated and many things that are completely false because there are zealots on that website.
But they say the same about your industry. It's
well,
both ways. It's like saying that Monsanto said glyphosate is a great product.
Abolished.
I don't buy it.
That's their thing, and they're trying to fit their information around that. but it's false information. But that's not what we're about anymore. We're not talking about releasing balloons. That's not what we're trying to support. What we're saying is latex balloons are 100% biodegradable. They come from the sap of rubber trees. The largest natural product coming out of our rainforest all over the world is latex. Does not harm the tree, and the more balloons that you use, the more latex you have, or the more trees you have, and the more oxygen for the world. I would love to work with you, Jeff. You said work with us. I would love to present the reports from Qualitex Balloons. Factual reports about the biodegradability, the fact that you can compost balloons. You were completely wrong on this, and it really hurts me that you would bring up something like that. Again, we're not trying to do smoke and mirrors here. I told you tonight I would come with facts, and I will not say anything that's not factual. You can look stuff up about me online, and you'll see all kinds of stuff that is completely untrue.
Hang on a second.
All right.
I want to kind of get a grip on
Do
meeting
not
here.
punish 95% of the people because of what 5% do.
Thank you. Brought this up originally.
I'm the one that brought this up originally. Yes, I am the one. When I looked online and I started to really get into whether or not these things are biodegradable, the industry says that they are biodegradable, but the environmentalists say that they're not biodegradable. So I know that the ribbon is not biodegradable, which is attached to the ones that are getting released. So it seems to me that it's a bit of a confusing issue that maybe we should have some more information on, and maybe just target the plastic-based balloons at this time, but we would need another item to come back about that.
You're comfortable with banning Mylar, right?
Yeah, but I think that we would need that to come back because the language would get changed.
Okay. So let's, and in the meantime, we'll do a little more research.
I would like to target balloons that do not biodegrade.
Would you want to add that to the definition of balloon?
Yeah. That sounds probably like the best way to do it.
A non-biodegradable balloon.
And you have to be very clear when we define biodegradable, Trevor.
Okay.